Hello, everyone. Welcome to English in Fluency. It's wonderful to have you here with us today. My name is Alex, and I'll be your host and guide on our journey to better English and clearer understanding. I'm so glad you've chosen to spend some of your valuable time with me. Whether you are here to improve your speaking, sharpen your listening skills, or simply build the confidence to express yourself in English, you have definitely come to the right place. Thank you for joining our community of learners. Have you ever helped someone, maybe a friend or even a stranger, and felt a wonderful, warm feeling inside? It's a feeling that makes you smile, a sense that you've made a small but positive difference in the world. Now, have you ever helped someone and, afterward, felt a little bit tired, or maybe even a little sad or confused? Perhaps you felt that your kindness wasn't truly seen or appreciated. If you have ever experienced either of these feelings, then today's episode is especially for you. We are going to explore a very important and powerful idea, captured in a simple phrase: do good, but stay smart. This phrase might sound easy, but it holds a universe of meaning within it. When we say, do good, we are talking about the beautiful human instinct to be kind, to offer help, and to show compassion to others. Doing good things is the foundation of a happy life and a better world. It's what connects us to each other and fills our own lives with purpose. However, the second part of the phrase, stay smart, is just as crucial. It reminds us that while we are being kind and generous, we must also be careful, thoughtful, and protective of our own well-being. Sometimes, in our eagerness to help, we can forget to think clearly, and this can lead to unexpected problems for us, and sometimes even for the very people we are trying to assist. Why is this topic so incredibly important for us to talk about today? The truth is, most of us have a deep desire to be good people. We want to contribute positively to the lives of those around us. But if we are not smart about how we offer our help, our kindness can sometimes be misunderstood or even taken for granted. For instance, if we consistently help a friend who never shows gratitude or makes an effort to help themselves, we might start to feel drained and resentful. That feeling of resentment can slowly eat away at our natural desire to be kind. Or, imagine giving your time and energy to a cause, only to realize that your efforts are not creating a positive change. This can lead to disappointment and burnout. Learning how to balance our generosity with wisdom is a skill that is essential for a happy and healthy life. It allows us to be a source of good in the world, while also ensuring we remain safe, respected, and emotionally healthy. In this special episode, we are going to dive deep into this topic together. You will gain a much clearer understanding of what it truly means to do good. We will look at many different examples, both big and small, that will help you recognize the moments when your kindness is a powerful gift, and the moments when you might need to be a little more cautious. I will carefully explain what stay smart involves, and I'll show you practical ways to be thoughtful and discerning while you are helping others. Furthermore, I will share some very simple, easy-to-use tips that will help you discover the perfect balance between being a giving person and a wise person. And to make sure these ideas really stay with you, I will share a detailed story at the end of our session, a story that will bring all of these concepts to life. This episode has been carefully designed for English learners just like you. The language I use will be clear, simple, and spoken at a comfortable pace, making it perfect for you to listen, understand, and practice your shadowing skills. You can listen and repeat the sentences to improve your pronunciation. You can practice speaking along with me, and you will certainly learn some new and useful vocabulary. So, find a comfortable spot, relax, and get ready. Are you prepared to begin this important exploration with me? Let's start our journey to learn how to do good, but always stay smart. Please stay with me, and let's enjoy this valuable lesson together. So, let's begin with the first, and perhaps most beautiful, part of our topic today. Do good. What does this simple phrase really mean in our daily lives? When we talk about doing good, we are talking about the act of being kind, of being helpful, and of showing genuine care for the people and the world around us. To do good is to perform actions, both large and small, that aim to improve someone else's situation or simply to bring a little more light into their day. It is about embodying the qualities of a good human being by offering support, sharing what we have, and contributing to making our communities better, more compassionate places. This is a universal ability that every single one of us possesses, regardless of our age, our background, or where we happen to live in the world. The wonderful thing about doing good is that it doesn't have to be complicated. It can manifest in the smallest, most simple acts. Think about the power of a genuine smile offered to a stranger on the street, the warmth conveyed in a sincere thank you to a bus driver, or the simple courtesy of holding a door open for the person walking behind you. These actions might seem minor, almost insignificant, but their impact can be profound. They are small signals that communicate a powerful message. I see you. I care. We are in this together. These little acts of kindness weave a stronger, more pleasant fabric for our society. Of course, doing good can also involve bigger, more significant actions. It could mean dedicating your Saturday afternoon to volunteering at a local animal shelter, helping a friend move into their new apartment, or donating food to a family that is struggling to make ends meet. It could be offering to tutor a classmate who is having difficulty with a subject you understand well, or simply being a patient and non-judgmental listener for a friend who is going through a tough time. Whether the act is as small as picking up a piece of trash from the sidewalk, or as large as organizing a community cleanup event, the core principle remains the same. Doing good is always about helping, about showing kindness, and about making a positive contribution. For example, let's imagine you are at a coffee shop. You see a young mother trying to manage her two small children while also carrying a tray of hot drinks. Her hands are full, and she looks stressed. A simple act of good would be to walk over and offer to carry her tray to her table for her. This small gesture costs you nothing but a moment of your time, yet it could completely change the course of her morning, turning a moment of stress into a moment of relief and human connection. Or perhaps you have an elderly neighbor whose lawn is overgrown because they no longer have the physical strength to mow it. Offering to spend an hour on a weekend cutting their grass is a simple way to do good that has a visible and immediate positive impact. Doing good doesn't require a lot of money or special skills. The most valuable resource we can offer is often our time, our attention, and our compassion. So, why is it fundamentally important to do good? There are so many reasons. First and foremost, every act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to making the world a more pleasant, more supportive, and better place to live. If each of us committed to doing just one small good deed every day, imagine the cumulative positive effect that would have on our world. When you do good, you provide hope and tangible support to people who may be feeling sad, lonely, sick, or overwhelmed by life's challenges. Your kindness can be a lifeline, giving them the strength to keep going and reminding them that they are not alone. Doing good is like planting a seed of positivity. You may not always see the tree that grows from it, but you can trust that it is making a difference. But the benefits of doing good are not just for others, they are for you as well. There is a fascinating phenomenon known as the helper's high. When you perform an act of kindness, your brain releases chemicals like oxytocin and dopamine, which are associated with feelings of happiness, pleasure, and social connection. This is why helping others often makes our own hearts feel warm and full. It gives us a sense of purpose and pride. Furthermore, doing good is one of the most effective ways to build strong, healthy, and trusting relationships with other people. When you are consistently kind and reliable, others will naturally come to like, trust, and respect you. This is how deep friendships are formed and how peaceful, cooperative communities are built. People have a natural tendency to remember those who helped them in their time of need, and they are often motivated to pay it forward, either by helping you in return or by helping someone else. In this way, a single act of kindness can create a ripple effect, a positive chain reaction that spreads far beyond the initial action. It cultivates a virtuous cycle where generosity and support become the norm. Finally, the practice of doing good is a powerful teacher. It helps us develop essential human virtues like empathy, patience, respect, and a deeper understanding of others. When you take the time to help someone, you are often required to listen attentively to their needs and to be patient with their struggles. You begin to see the world from their perspective, which broadens your own understanding and makes you a more thoughtful, compassionate, and loving individual. Remember, opportunities to do good are all around us, every single day. You don't need to wait for a special occasion or a grand opportunity. You can start right now, in your own home with your family, at school with your friends, or in your neighborhood with the people you see every day. Even the smallest gestures of kindness have immense power. To summarize, to do good means to be a force for kindness and help in the world. It is about taking actions that make others feel happier, safer, and more comfortable. Doing good is essential because it helps others in need. It makes our world a better place, and it brings profound happiness and a sense of purpose into our own lives. It strengthens our relationships and helps us grow into better versions of ourselves. So, I encourage you to look for opportunities, however small, to do good in your daily life. Now that we have established the deep importance and beauty of doing good, we must turn our attention to a more complex and sometimes uncomfortable aspect of this topic. We need to talk about the problem that can arise when our well-intentioned acts of kindness go wrong. The reality is that when we try to be kind and helpful, our actions are not always received in the way we hope, and people do not always treat us with the fairness and gratitude we might expect. Sometimes, people can take advantage of our kindness. This phrase, to take advantage of, means that someone uses our good nature and our helpful actions for their own selfish benefit, without any genuine consideration for our feelings, our time, or our resources. This can be a deeply painful experience, leaving us feeling sad, used, tired, or even foolish. When you offer your help to someone, you do it from a place of sincerity. You hope that your help will make a positive difference, and that the person you are helping will appreciate the gesture. But this is not always how things unfold. Some individuals, unfortunately, might begin to see your kindness not as a gift, but as an obligation. They might start to ask for more and more help, pushing the limits of what is reasonable. They might not make any effort to solve their own problems, becoming completely dependent on your assistance. Or they might simply expect you to say yes to every request they make, without any thought for your own needs or commitments. This is a significant problem, because while helping is a virtue, it should never come at the cost of our own well-being. It should not make us feel depleted, resentful, or disrespected. Let me give you a very clear and simple example to illustrate this. Imagine you have a new colleague at work named David. David is struggling to learn the new computer system. You, being a kind person, offer to stay late one evening to help him. He is very grateful, and you feel good about helping. The next week, he asks for your help again on a different task. You agree. Soon, it becomes a regular pattern. David asks for your help almost every day, often with tasks he should be learning to do himself. He stops trying to figure things out on his own and just waits for you to provide the answers. You notice that you are staying late more often, your own work is starting to suffer, and you are feeling tired. David says, "Thanks," but the requests never stop. This is a classic example of someone taking advantage of your kindness. Your initial good deed has turned into an unhealthy dependency that is not good for you, and it is not even good for David in the long run, because he is not becoming more competent or independent. Let's consider another common scenario. Perhaps you have a friend, Clara, who often calls you to talk about her problems. You are a good friend, so you listen patiently, sometimes for hours. You offer advice and emotional support. You do this because you care about her. However, you start to notice that every conversation is about Clara. She rarely asks how you are doing or shows any interest in your life. When you try to share something about your own struggles, she quickly changes the subject back to herself. After your conversations, you often feel emotionally exhausted, as if all your energy has been drained away. This is another way that doing good can go wrong. Your role in the friendship has become one-sided. You are giving all the emotional support, but you are receiving nothing in return. This imbalance can damage the friendship and leave you feeling unvalued and lonely. Being a kind and supportive friend doesn't mean you have to be a free therapist, available 24/7. Sometimes, the issue is not a lack of appreciation, but a complete absence of it. People might ask for your help, receive it, and then act as if nothing happened. They don't say thank you, they don't acknowledge the effort you made, and they don't offer to help you when you are in need. This can make you feel invisible and can cause you to question the value of your kindness. When you consistently feel that your efforts are being ignored, it is a very strong signal that something is wrong in the dynamic. You need to be careful. Being kind and generous should never mean that you allow others to disregard your feelings or treat you with disrespect. It is also crucially important to understand that when we give too much of ourselves without thinking, too much time, too much energy, too much money, we can fall into a state of burnout. We might start to neglect our own fundamental needs, like getting enough rest, eating properly, or doing the activities that bring us joy and relaxation. This is a dangerous path because if you are not physically and emotionally well, you cannot effectively help anyone else. Your ability to do good in the world depends on your own well-being. Helping others should be a source of joy and fulfillment, not a source of stress, sadness, or exhaustion. This is why it is so vitally important to be kind, but also to be smart. You can be a beacon of goodness and help in the world, but you must also learn to protect your own heart, your own energy, and your own boundaries. It is perfectly acceptable, and in fact, it is healthy, to say no sometimes. It is essential to protect your time and your emotional resources. Now, I would like you to take a quiet moment to reflect on this. Think about your own life. Have you ever been in a situation where you tried to help someone, but later you felt that they asked for too much, or that they didn't truly appreciate your effort? How did that experience make you feel inside? Recognizing and understanding these feelings is the first step toward learning from these experiences. Remember, doing good is a magnificent quality, but staying smart is what allows us to continue doing good in a sustainable and joyful way. In the next part of our discussion, we will dive into what it means to stay smart when you are offering your help to others. This will equip you with the tools you need to find that healthy, happy balance between being generous and being careful. All right, let's now move on to the second, equally important part of our guiding phrase: stay smart. We've established that doing good is a core part of a meaningful life. But what exactly does it mean to stay smart while we are engaged in these acts of kindness? In the simplest terms, to stay smart means to be mindful, to think critically before we act, and to prioritize our own well-being even as we are helping others. It is the practice of being compassionate while also being protective of our own emotions, our time, and our resources. When we say stay smart, we are advocating for a form of helping that is healthy and sustainable, a way of giving that doesn't leave us feeling depleted, resentful, or harmed in any way. It's about ensuring that the act of helping is a positive experience for both the giver and the receiver. A fundamental concept in staying smart is the idea of setting boundaries. Think of boundaries as invisible lines or gentle fences that we draw around ourselves. These lines are not walls to keep people out. Rather, they are guidelines that communicate to others what we are comfortable with and what we are not comfortable with. They define what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior in our interactions. For example, you might genuinely enjoy helping a coworker, but you also value your evenings with your family. A healthy boundary would be to make it clear that you are happy to help during work hours, but you are not available for work-related calls or tasks after 6 p.m. Setting boundaries is about telling others, kindly but firmly, what you can and cannot do. This practice is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect. It helps other people understand your limits and encourages them to respect you as a person with your own needs and priorities. Let's revisit the example of the classmate who constantly asks for help with homework. You want to be a kind and supportive friend, but you also have your own exams to study for. If you don't set a boundary, you might end up spending all your study time helping them, which could negatively affect your own grades. A smart way to handle this would be to set a clear boundary. You could say something like, "I'm happy to help you understand the concepts on Tuesday and Thursday for 1 hour after class, but on the other days, I need to focus on my own studies." In this statement, you are not rejecting them. You are still offering significant help, but you are doing it in a way that also honors your own needs. You are staying smart by not sacrificing your own success for theirs. This way, you can continue to be a good friend without feeling overwhelmed or resentful. Another crucial component of staying smart is mastering the art of saying no politely. For many kind-hearted people, saying no can feel incredibly difficult. We worry that it will disappoint the other person, hurt their feelings, or make us seem like a bad or selfish person. But learning to say no is one of the most important life skills you can develop. It is a powerful tool for protecting your time, your energy, and your mental health. Saying no politely means communicating your refusal in a way that is respectful and clear, but not aggressive or apologetic. You can use simple, direct phrases. For instance, if a friend asks you to join an activity you don't have the energy for, you could say, "Thank you so much for thinking of me, but I won't be able to make it this time." Or if someone asks for a favor you cannot fulfill, you could say, "I'm sorry, but my schedule is too full right now, so I can't help with that." You don't always need to provide a long, complicated explanation. A polite and firm no is often enough. When you say no politely, you are demonstrating respect for your own limits, and, in doing so, you teach others to respect them as well. Being smart also means taking a moment to think before you commit to helping. When someone approaches you with a request, especially a large one, like asking to borrow a significant amount of money, or asking you to take on a major responsibility, it's wise to pause before you respond. Don't feel pressured to give an immediate yes. Instead, you can say, "Let me think about that and get back to you." This gives you the space to carefully consider the request. You can ask yourself some important questions. Do I realistically have the time and resources to do this? Will this action cause me stress or financial difficulty? Is this request fair and reasonable? Is this form of help actually beneficial for the other person in the long run? Thinking first allows you to move from a reactive decision based on emotion to a proactive decision based on wisdom. It's perfectly okay to take time to make a choice that is right for you. It's very important to understand that staying smart is not about being unkind, suspicious, or selfish. On the contrary, it's about being kind to yourself with the same level of compassion that you show to others. When you practice staying smart, you are ensuring that your well of kindness doesn't run dry. You are helping in a way that feels good and energizing, not draining and problematic. This means you can do good things for others consistently, over a long period, without burning out. Remember, helping others should be a joyful act, but you must also be the guardian of your own peace and happiness. If you neglect to stay smart, you risk becoming tired, stressed, and perhaps even cynical about helping. But if you learn to set healthy boundaries, say no when necessary, and think before you act, you will feel more empowered, more respected, and happier. This strength will, in turn, make you an even more effective and joyful force for good in the world. So, staying smart is about being kind with wisdom. It means helping others while maintaining deep respect for yourself. It involves setting clear limits and communicating them politely. When you master this skill, you can navigate the world of giving with confidence and grace. In our next section, we'll explore how to bring these two concepts together and find the perfect, harmonious balance between doing good and staying smart. We have now explored the two pillars of our topic: the importance of doing good and the necessity of staying smart. The ultimate goal, and often the biggest challenge, is to learn how to integrate these two ideas seamlessly into our lives. We need to find the balance. Finding this balance means being able to offer your kindness and help to others in a generous spirit, while simultaneously protecting your own well-being and respecting your own limits. It's about being a compassionate and helpful person without allowing others to take advantage of you or make you feel emotionally drained. When you successfully find this delicate balance, you become a person who is not only kind, but also strong, resilient, and genuinely happy. The first practical tip for finding this balance is to adopt the mindset of being kind but safe. Kindness should always be your starting point. Approach situations with an open heart and a genuine desire to help when you can. However, always keep your personal safety, both physical and emotional, at the forefront of your mind. Before you agree to help someone, especially a stranger, or in an unfamiliar situation, take a moment to assess the circumstances. Ask yourself a simple question: can I offer help in this situation without putting myself at risk or making myself feel deeply uncomfortable? If the answer is a clear yes, then proceed with your kind act. But if something feels wrong, if your intuition is sending you a warning signal, or if helping would cause you significant stress or hardship, it is wiser to be cautious. You can still be kind without being reckless. This might mean choosing how and when you help. For example, instead of giving money directly to a stranger on the street, you might choose to donate to a trusted local charity that helps the homeless. This is a way of doing good that is both effective and safe. A very powerful technique for maintaining balance is to learn to say yes with limits. This is a middle ground between a hard no and an unconditional yes. It means you agree to help, but you do so on your own terms, in a way that is manageable for you. This approach allows you to be helpful without giving away all of your time and energy. Let's go back to the example of your friend who needs help with their homework. Instead of saying, "No, I can't help you," or "Yes, I'll help you with everything," you can say yes with limits. You could offer, "Yes, I can help you. Let's sit down for 30 minutes, and I will explain the most difficult chapter to you." Or you might say, "Yes, I can look over your essay and give you some feedback, but you need to write the first draft on your own." Saying yes with limits is an incredibly smart and effective way to be kind. It clearly communicates that you are willing to help, but it also establishes a healthy boundary that protects your own time and prevents the other person from becoming overly dependent on you. It's a way of maintaining the balance between being a supportive friend and taking care of your own responsibilities. Another critical skill for finding balance is knowing when it is time to stop helping. Sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we have been helping someone for a long time, but we see no positive change. The person may not be making any effort to help themselves, or they may have come to expect your help as a right rather than a gift. They may continually ask for more without ever expressing gratitude. These are all red flags, clear signs that the helping dynamic has become unhealthy. At this point, continuing to help in the same way is not beneficial for anyone. Stepping back or stopping your help does not mean you are a bad person. It means you are being smart, discerning, and are protecting yourself from burnout. You can communicate your decision kindly, but firmly. For instance, you could say to a friend you've been helping financially, "I care about you very much, and I have been happy to help you through this difficult time. However, I can no longer lend you money. I believe it is important for you now to find a sustainable solution on your own, and I will continue to support you emotionally in that journey." This approach helps the other person understand the need to become more independent while also respecting your own financial and emotional limits. To know when to stop, you must get into the habit of listening to your own feelings. Your emotions are a very reliable guidance system. If helping someone consistently leaves you feeling happy, energized, and fulfilled, that is a sign that the dynamic is healthy and balanced. However, if helping someone regularly makes you feel tired, resentful, anxious, sad, or worried, these feelings are important messages. They are telling you that the balance is off and that you need to take a step back and reassess the situation. Your feelings are signaling that your own needs are not being met. You can choose to say no, to set new boundaries, or to take a complete break from helping that person for a while. This is a healthy and necessary act of self-care. Also, remember that balance is not a fixed point. It is dynamic and changes from day to day. There will be days when you feel full of energy, time, and resources, and you can give a lot to others. On other days, you might be busy, tired, or dealing with your own challenges, and on those days, you will need to give less. That is perfectly okay. True balance means being flexible and paying attention to your own state of being. It means being as kind and forgiving to yourself as you are to others. To help you find this balance every day, try to remember these simple steps. First, always pause and think before you say yes to a request. Second, when you do help, set clear and reasonable limits. Third, practice saying no politely and without guilt when you cannot or do not want to help. Fourth, listen closely to your feelings. They will tell you when the balance is right. And fifth, always remember that your own health and happiness are just as important as the help you give to others. By consistently applying these principles, you can become a person who is both wonderfully kind and wisely smart. You will be able to enjoy the profound joy of helping others without ever losing yourself in the process. This balance is the key to a strong, happy, and fulfilling life. In the next part of our episode, I will share a short story to illustrate how one person learned to find this crucial balance in his own life. Now, to bring all of these ideas together, let me share a simple story with you. This story will help you visualize how a person can practice doing good while staying smart in real-life situations. This is the story of a young man named Leo, who lived in a friendly, close-knit neighborhood. Leo had a very big heart. He was known by everyone on his street as the person you could always count on. He genuinely loved to help people whenever and however he could. But, as Leo discovered, having a big heart also meant he needed to learn how to be smart about how he shared it. One of his neighbors was an elderly woman named Mrs. Gable. She had lived in her house for over 50 years, but her age had made it difficult for her to manage her beautiful garden and carry heavy things. Leo, wanting to do good, offered to help her. Every Saturday morning, without fail, Leo would go over to Mrs. Gable's house. He would mow her lawn, pull the weeds from her flower beds, and carry her heavy bags of groceries in from her car. Mrs. Gable was incredibly grateful. She would bake him cookies and tell him stories about the neighborhood's history. Helping her made Leo feel wonderful. It was a pure and simple act of kindness that brought joy to both of them. A few months into this routine, Mrs. Gable's son, who lived in another city, called Leo. He had heard about how helpful Leo was being, and was very thankful. Then he made a bigger request. He explained that his mother was getting forgetful and was struggling to cook proper meals for herself. He asked if Leo could possibly stop by every evening to cook dinner for her. Leo's immediate instinct was to say yes. He wanted to help the kind old woman. But then he paused. Cooking dinner every single evening was a huge commitment. Leo worked a full-time job and was also taking evening classes to improve his skills. He knew that if he agreed, he would have no time left for his studies, for his own meals, or even just to rest. He would be completely exhausted. Leo thought about it carefully overnight. He wanted to do good, but he knew he also had to stay smart. The next day, he called Mrs. Gable's son back. He spoke in a very kind but clear voice. He said, "I am so happy to help your mother, and I will absolutely continue to take care of her garden and groceries every Saturday. However, I won't be able to cook for her every night. My work and study schedule just doesn't allow for it. But I did some research, and there is a great local Meals on Wheels service that delivers hot, nutritious dinners specifically for seniors. I can help you get that set up for her." Leo was kind and honest. He affirmed his commitment to helping, but also set a clear boundary around what he could not do. He didn't just say no, he offered a helpful, alternative solution. Mrs. Gable's son was not upset. In fact, he was thankful for Leo's honesty and for the helpful suggestion. They arranged the meal service, and Leo continued his Saturday visits, which remained a happy and positive experience for everyone involved. Leo felt proud because he had found a way to continue helping without becoming overwhelmed. He had found the balance between doing good and staying smart. Around the same time, a different situation was developing at Leo's workplace. His co-worker, Chloe, was often overwhelmed by her workload. At first, Leo started helping her with small tasks to be a good team player. He would help her format a report or double-check her data. Chloe was always very appreciative, but soon this started to become a habit. Chloe began to rely on Leo more and more. She would leave parts of her projects unfinished, assuming that Leo would complete them for her. Leo noticed he was spending an hour or two every day doing Chloe's work in addition to his own. He felt stressed and worried because his own project deadlines were getting closer, and he was falling behind. He also felt a growing sense of unfairness because Chloe was getting credit for work that he was doing. Leo remembered the lesson he had learned with Mrs. Gable. He knew he had to address the situation. One afternoon, he asked Chloe to have a coffee with him. He spoke to her kindly and privately. He said, "Chloe, I'm always happy to be part of a team and help out when I can. However, recently I've been spending a lot of time on your tasks, and it's causing me to fall behind on my own work. I need to focus on my own projects to meet my deadlines. I can't continue to do parts of your work for you. However, if you're struggling with managing your time, I can show you the system I use for organizing my tasks. Maybe that could help." Chloe was a little embarrassed at first, but she understood. She apologized and admitted that she had become too dependent on him. She took him up on his offer to learn about his organization system. From that day on, their working relationship became much healthier. Leo was still a kind and supportive co-worker, but he helped in a way that empowered Chloe to do her own work better, rather than just doing it for her. This story of Leo shows us something incredibly important. Being a kind and generous person is a wonderful quality, but it must be paired with wisdom and self-respect. Leo did good by helping Mrs. Gable and Chloe, but he stayed smart by recognizing his own limits, by saying no politely but firmly when a request was too large, and by addressing an unhealthy dynamic in a constructive way. These actions didn't make him less kind. They made him more effective and sustainable in his kindness. They allowed him to preserve his own happiness, energy, and strength. So, the next time you are faced with an opportunity to help, think of Leo's story. Be kind, be generous, and open your heart to others. But also, be smart. Protect your time, listen to your feelings, and set gentle but clear boundaries. This perfect balance will make your kindness a true gift, one that enriches the lives of others without diminishing your own. Now, as we approach the end of our episode, let's crystallize everything we've discussed into some simple, practical, and useful tips that you can apply in your daily life. These tips are designed to be your guide, helping you to practice the principle of do good, but stay smart every single day. It's important to see this not as a set of strict rules, but as a collection of helpful habits that, over time, can make your acts of kindness more joyful and sustainable. Remember, kindness is one of the most powerful forces in the world, but it shines brightest when it is guided by wisdom and self-care. By consciously incorporating these ideas into your daily routine, you can become a more effective and happier giver, protecting your own precious time and energy along the way. The very first and most fundamental tip is to create a habit of pausing to think before you offer to help. When someone makes a request, our immediate emotional response might be to say yes, especially if we are naturally kind-hearted. However, it's wise to resist this impulse for just a moment. Take a mental breath and ask yourself a few quick, silent questions. Do I genuinely have the time and energy for this right now? Will saying yes to this cause me significant stress or make me neglect my own important responsibilities? Is this form of help actually constructive for the other person, or will it enable a bad habit? If the answers are positive and you feel good about it, then, by all means, go ahead and help with an open heart. But if you feel a sense of hesitation, worry, or pressure, it is a sign that you need to be more cautious. It is perfectly acceptable to say no, or to ask for some time to consider the request. This simple pause for thought is your first line of defense in making smart choices. The second tip is to become comfortable with setting clear limits when you do decide to help. You do not have to offer a blank check of your time and resources. For example, if a friend is moving and asks for your help, you can be specific about what you can offer. Instead of just saying yes, you could say, "Yes, I'd be happy to help you move. I am free on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is much smarter than agreeing to help for the entire day, which could leave you completely exhausted. Setting these limits up front is not rude. It's clear and honest. It manages the other person's expectations and protects your own time and energy. The third, and perhaps most challenging tip, is to practice saying no, politely and without guilt. Many of us are conditioned to believe that saying no is unkind. This is not true. Saying no when you are overcommitted, tired, or simply do not want to do something is an act of self-respect. It means you value yourself and your own needs. You can soften the no with kindness. Simple phrases work best. "I'm so sorry, but I won't be able to help with that." Or, "Thank you for asking me, but my plate is too full right now." Or even, "I don't think I'm the best person to help with this, but I wish you the best of luck." Remember, you do not owe anyone a long, elaborate excuse. A polite refusal is sufficient. The fourth essential tip is to become a better listener to your own feelings. Your emotions are powerful and accurate signals. If helping someone consistently brings you joy, warmth, and a sense of purpose, that is a clear indication that the exchange is healthy. But if you start to feel resentment, anxiety, stress, or a sense of being drained after interacting with a certain person or doing a certain task, pay close attention. These negative feelings are your inner guidance system telling you that a boundary has been crossed or that the balance is off. Don't ignore these signals. Use them as a cue to take a step back, reassess the situation, and make a change. Fifth, always try to help others in a way that empowers them and fosters their independence. True help is not about making people dependent on you. It's about giving them the tools and confidence to help themselves. Instead of just giving a friend the answer to a problem, teach them the method to find the answer on their own. Instead of constantly lending money, help someone create a budget. This form of help is smarter because it creates long-term positive change and prevents you from becoming a permanent crutch for others. Finally, and most importantly, make time for yourself every single day. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Helping others is a wonderful use of your energy, but you must also replenish that energy. Ensure you are getting enough rest, eating well, and making time for your hobbies and passions, the things that make you feel happy and alive. When you are well-rested and fulfilled, you will have so much more positive energy to offer the world. By putting these simple tips into practice, you will find that you can be an incredibly kind and generous person while also living a life that is balanced, happy, and strong. You will be a shining example of how to do good and stay smart. We have now arrived at the end of our journey together in today's episode. Before we say goodbye, let's take just a few moments to wrap up our discussion and reflect on the most important ideas we have explored. The central theme of our conversation was the powerful phrase, "Do good, but stay smart." This simple saying contains a profound wisdom. It teaches us that being kind and helping others is a beautiful and essential part of a good life. However, it also reminds us that we must be thoughtful, careful, and protective of ourselves as we give to others. Doing good is the act of sharing your light with the world, and staying smart is what ensures your light never burns out. You can continue to be a kind and generous person for your entire life, without feeling tired, resentful, or taken for granted. Kindness is truly a magnificent quality. When we help others, we are actively making the world a warmer, safer, and better place. We offer support to people who are struggling. We spread happiness, and we build strong, trusting relationships that enrich our lives. But we've learned today that kindness, by itself, is not always enough. We must pair our kindness with intelligence. We need to be smart about how we offer our help. Being smart means understanding our own limits, having the courage to set healthy boundaries, and respecting our own time and emotions. When we achieve this balance, we can continue to help others for a lifetime, feeling joyful and energized in the process. Throughout this episode, we have covered many useful concepts. We began by talking about what doing good truly means, and why it is so important for both our society and our own personal happiness. We then looked at the difficult situations that can arise when our kindness is taken advantage of, or when we simply give too much of ourselves. After that, we explored the practical meaning of staying smart by learning about setting boundaries and the importance of saying no politely. We then focused on how to find the perfect balance between these two ideas so that we can be both kind and careful. We heard the story of Leo, a young man who learned through his experiences how to help his neighbors and co-workers in a way that was good for them and also healthy for him. His story is a powerful reminder that being smart and being kind can, and should, exist together. Finally, we reviewed a list of simple, actionable tips for your daily life. We learned to think before helping, to set clear limits, to say no without guilt, and to listen to our own feelings. We also talked about the importance of empowering others, and, most crucially, of taking good care of ourselves. Now, as we conclude, I want to leave you with a word of encouragement. I want to encourage you to actively practice both kindness and smart thinking in your everyday life. The next time someone asks you for help, remember the lessons from today. Approach the situation with a kind and open heart, but also with a wise and discerning mind. Think about what you can realistically offer without harming your own well-being. Remember that it is okay to say no sometimes. Being both kind and smart will not only protect you, it will help you build more honest and respectful friendships, feel genuinely happier, and live a more balanced and fulfilling life. Before we finish, I would like to give you a final question to think about after this episode is over. Can you recall a specific time when you helped someone and the experience felt truly good and rewarding? What were the circumstances? How did you feel afterward? Did you feel energized and happy? Or did you feel drained and sad? Reflecting on your own past experiences is a powerful way to understand your own patterns and to learn how you can better balance doing good with staying smart in the future. Thank you so very much for listening to this episode of English in Fluency. I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed our time together and that you've had a chance to learn and practice your English with me today. Always remember, kindness and wisdom are the perfect partners. When you do good with care and thought, you not only make the world a better place for others, but you also make your own life happier and more peaceful. I hope you will take this lesson with you and try to apply it every day. If you found this episode helpful, please consider sharing it with your friends and family who are also on their journey of learning English and becoming kinder, smarter people. I look forward to having you with me again next time on English in Fluency, where we learn English and important life skills together. Until then, stay kind, stay smart, and keep practicing your English. Goodbye for now.